Hi, this is Theo from PocketBlocks.com. Today I'm going to review these two entry-level sealer fountain pens that come with the Fude nib. The Fude nib is actually a bent nib, but before I show you the nib, let me talk about the body first. This fountain pen has a rather long body, and if I compare it to other fountain pens that I have, you can see the difference is quite significant. And let me uncap this. Even when the pen is uncapped, it is still longer than my two other fountain pens here. This is a Duke fountain pen and this is a Hero fountain pen. And the reason why there are two colors for these two sealer fountain pens is because the nibs, they are bent at different angles. The construction of the body is lightweight because the whole body is actually just plastic. I like the cap here because it has a little protrusion here to prevent the pen from rolling around, so it's very helpful. However, it doesn't have a clip. So this is the nib for the blue colored fountain pen. The nib is bent at 40 degrees and that is the fit that is behind it. I'm not sure what metal is used to create a nib. It's probably steel and plated with some colors. And this is the fountain pen that is green, and it comes with a nib that is bent at 55 degrees. So this has a much sharper bend compared to the blue pen, which is more gradual. Sailor is not the only company that produces fountain pens with bent nibs. There are others. Let me show you. This is a Duke fountain pen with a bent nib as well. And this is a Hero fountain pen, and this is another Sailor fountain pen, but this is a gold nib, so this is much more expensive. I have another video that compares all the different Fude nib fountain pens. You might want to check that out. So let's fill this pen with ink and see what strokes it can produce. The ink I'm using today is the Noodler's Bulletproof Black. This is waterproof ink that I like to use with my watercolors. So let me just remove the body, and this is the ink converter, which does not come with the pen. The pen comes with disposable ink cartridges, but this is a Sailor ink converter, so you can buy it very easily on Amazon or on eBay. I'm just going to put this in and pull the piston up to fill the ink converter with ink. So this is almost filled. Let me clean this and put the body back. So just now I forgot to mention that you can actually post the cap onto the back of the pen. So this is good to go. A Fude nib is capable of producing lines with varying thickness, and how thick the lines are depends on how you hold the pen. If you hold the pen with the nib, the bent part flat on the surface of the paper, you are going to get a thick stroke, and if you hold it more vertically like this, you're going to get a thin stroke. So let me demonstrate that. So now I'm going to put the bent part flat on the paper, and it's able to give me a very thick stroke like this. And as I lift it up, you can see here the transition from thick to thin, and let me make it thick again to thin and thick again. So you can either draw like this very consciously, changing the position of your hand posture, or you can just draw as per normal as you normally would, and it will also give you some variations as well. Now the difference between these two is, if you want it to be thick in this area here, for example, you can do so. But if you want to draw it just per normal without paying too much attention to the angle, then the lines, the thickness, they are going to be a bit more random. So this is the nib that's bent at 40 degrees. Let me switch over to the other pen that is bent at 55 degrees. So this has a much sharper angle. So this is 55 degrees. You can actually just get both to try because they are entry level, they are not too expensive. And here This pen is also capable of thick and thin lines. I'm not actually sure which one I prefer. Sometimes I use the green one, sometimes I use the blue one. So let me try and draw some geometric shapes. Using a Fude nib to sketch can produce rather expressive drawings because of the thin and thick lines that are created randomly. So now I'm actually drawing a building, a house. And I'm not paying attention to how I'm actually holding the pen. I'm using this pen like I would with other pens. So I'm not paying any special attention to get the thick and thin lines. But even so, I can get some, I can see some variations. So that is quite fun. And that is the advantage of using a Fude nib pen. And for places where I need to have thin lines, I can do so. I can just tilt my pen vertically and get those thin lines. So for example here, for this roof, if I want the thin lines, I can do so. And if I want the shadow areas to be dark, for example this area, I can just color it dark. Now the ink flow for this pen is not the best. I think it's decent, but it's definitely not the best. Sometimes I do have the ink not coming out. So that's a problem with this particular pen. But generally speaking, it's not too big of a problem. And this is the blue pen. Let me switch over to the green, the one that's bent at a much steeper angle. I think it's easier to get thicker lines with this particular pen because of the way I'm using it and because of the way I'm holding it. Here you see the dry ink strokes. Because I'm drawing too fast, the ink wasn't able to catch up. And Fude nibs, they use a lot of ink because if you put the flat part of the nib on the paper surface, it's going to give you a thick line, and to give you a thick line like that, it uses up a lot of ink. So I think with this particular pen, this 55 degrees pen, I'm able to get thicker lines much easily. With the 55 degrees nib, I was able to get more variations easily and naturally from the hand position that I'm used to drawing. With the 40 degrees nib, if I want to get thicker lines, I need to be more conscious and actually tilt the pen to the appropriate angle. Let me show you a quirk about these two nibs that I do not like. The feed actually protrudes out quite a bit, and this little protrusion here, sometimes it can create unwanted lines. Let me show that to you. Can you see those thin lines there that are just beside the thick lines? So that's caused by that protrusion. Both the green and the blue pens, they have this issue because of the protruding feet. Now let me compare that to another fountain pen that also has a Fude nib, and you can see the difference. That's the Duke Fude nib fountain pen, and you can see this part here, the feet section, it's much further away from this bent area. And compared to the Sailor, the protrusion is very close to the bent area. Also, this Fude nib, this is curved and this is bent rather sharply. So the Duke fountain pen, it actually produces a much smoother writing and drawing experience compared to the Sailor fountain pen. The price for the pen is quite affordable, around US 10 to 20 or $25, and it's quite a fun pen to use. And here you see again, the ink flow is not that good, at least for this particular pen that I'm using. So if you want thick solid lines, you have to draw a bit slower. Alright, let's do a recap. The advantages of these two pens are they are relatively inexpensive, although you have to factor in the extra cost of getting the sealer ink converter. They are quite fun to use. They can create very expressive lines because the Fude nib is capable of producing thin and thick lines depending on the hand position. Now the downside for the pens are I find the ink flow to be a bit questionable, and also because of the way the nib is bent, sometimes it doesn't work well on certain types of paper, so you have to find out the best paper to use for this type of pen. I think that's all for my review today. If you have any questions, feel free to post them in the comment section below. I will also post a link to the text review of these two sailor pens in the video description so you can check them out. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Bye.